Welcome to part C of the chapter on e-business, in which we will discuss online advertising. Let's kick off with the overview of the chapter. First, we will set the stage. Next, we will review various types of online advertising. This will be followed by a discussion of pricing models, and the chapter will be concluded by highlighting the key concerns for online advertising. Let's start by setting the stage. In a 2002 paper, Richard and Curran defined advertising as a paid, mediated form of communication from an identifiable source, this will be the advertiser, designed to persuade the receiver, for example, us receiving the ad, to take some action now or in the future. Obviously, the ultimate action would be a product or service purchase inspired by the ad. Digital advertising, such as search-based advertising, banner advertising, display advertising, social media advertising, YouTube advertising, podcast advertising, definitely meets this definition. At the bottom of my slide, you can see some numbers as they have been provided by the International Advertising Bureau at the website indicated at the bottom. To the left, you can see the 5-year internet advertising revenue trend between 2020 and 2024. Every year, you can see that we have double-digit growth numbers. 35.4% double-digit, 10.8% double-digit, 7.3% single-digit, probably due to COVID, and then 14.9%. Here you can see it split up across the various main categories of online advertising: search-based advertising, as conducted by Google. We will discuss that later. Display advertising, for example, think about banners. Video advertising, think about YouTube. And audio advertising, think about the types of advertising we have in podcasts, for example. You can see that most of the chunk is taken by search-based advertising. Next follows display advertising, like banner ads, pop-ups, pop-unders, we will discuss that later on, video advertising, and a very small portion by audio or podcast advertising, for example. Let's now review various types of advertising: email advertising, display advertising, search engine advertising, social media advertising, and ad networks. Email advertising, well, in terms of email advertising, we can distinguish between two types of emails. Unsolicited emails are emails that we did not register for, that we did not subscribe to. This is what we refer to as spam. Obviously, that's not very effective because all of us daily receive quite a lot of spam emails into our email boxes, which we never open, which we never read. Hence, opt-in or permission-based emails are a lot more effective than spam. So in case we subscribe to email lists to receive advertisements by email, this is a lot more successful because it represents warmer leads. It's based upon us being actively interested to receive information by email about new types of products or services being offered by firms. Much to my surprise, when I prepared the slide deck, I found out that research showed that email still beats social media advertising in attracting new customers. In fact, it was shown in research that customers that were attracted by email usually buy and spend more. If you Google for the return on investment numbers of email advertising, you will see that it's around $30, maybe even up to $40 for every $1 spent on email advertising. Do note that social media advertising is still very important, as we will discuss later on, because it allows you to create brand awareness and also reach new audiences. There are various types of online companies that provide email advertising services. A very popular one is MailChimp. You can see MailChimp, the website. I would recommend you click on it and just see what it does, the different types of solutions and services it provides. Email marketing, you can see, is one of the services it provides. Let's have a look at the pricing formulas that they provide, right? Here you can see standard pricing formula allows you to send up to 6,000 emails each month to about 500 contacts. This is free, right? It's like a freemium business model. Still remember from the previous part B of the chapter on e-business, where we discussed various types of business models on the web. Obviously, if we want more, let's say we go for the maximum, 100,000 emails, then we need to pay about 595 euros per month for 12 months. I think it has various types of services. It will also have all kinds of dashboards that will allow you to follow up here in the reporting and analytics section that will allow you to follow up on the success of your campaign, track sales, and the campaign performance as it says right here. Okay, so the idea of these types of online email advertising providers is to do some kind of ad mediation and try to match interested buyers and sellers. Buyers, people like us, prospects, people that are interested in certain types of products or services, can sign up and indicate preferences. For example, I could sign up and say, I'm interested in buying tennis shoes. Sellers can then subscribe and pay a fee that will typically be around $0.1 per email contact, and the online email advertising platform will then try to match interested buyers and sellers. A very important note on email advertising pertains to cart abandonment emails. Oftentimes, you go on a website, you compose a cart with certain types of products. Think about tennis shoes and maybe some other tennis equipment like a tennis shirt, tennis socks, and so on. And during checkout, something goes wrong, or you still have to think about whether you're willing to make the purchase, yes or no. Meanwhile, the online retailer has gathered certain types of information. It knows who you are, it knows the cart you have composed, and it can see that you have not successfully checked out. In other words, it can see that no conversion has taken place yet. No payment was made, so there's no sale that has taken place yet. Cart abandonment emails can actually help the customer convince to convert, go back online, complete the cart information, add the payment information, and convert, and as such, do the purchase. So cart abandonment emails are a special type of email advertising where emails are sent to customers who add items to a cart but leave without completing a purchase. Display advertising can be defined by the International Advertising Bureau in 2015 as an advertiser pays an online company or an online website typically for space on one or more of the online company's web pages to display either a static or a link banner or logo. That's banner advertising. So it's in essence an extension of traditional media publishing which works especially well when viewer traffic is big or very specialized. That means if I have a website that pertains to tennis, all kinds of tennis information, then obviously it will be of big interest to companies advertising tennis products, tennis shoes, tennis shirts, tennis equipment, etc. So when the viewer traffic is very specialized, then obviously it will be of big interest to those type of companies. And also obviously when the viewer traffic is big, because it means that we have bigger chances or bigger potential for conversion being that somebody clicks the ad, goes to the advertiser websites, and hopefully makes a purchase. The internet allows for two-way communication. For example, if you look at a physical newspaper, if you look at an ad in a physical newspaper, there's only one-way communication. I can read the ad. I cannot click the ad in a physical newspaper. In online advertising, when I see a banner ad, I can click it. So there's two-way communication right there. I can show active interest. I can click the ad. I will be navigated to the advertiser's website where I can inspect a little bit more about the details of the products or services being offered and hopefully make a purchase. So it creates a lot higher user engagement. Furthermore, a distinction can be made between static versus rich media. Static means that there's not much activity, almost no activity in the banner. Rich media means that there's activity in the banner that takes place. For example, when You can click on certain parts of the banner and something is going to happen. You can hover with your mouse over certain parts of the banner or certain parts of the online ad and something is going to happen. So rich media essentially integrates streaming interactivity, which allows the user to interact with the online ad and to engage further. There's various types of intrusiveness, and intrusiveness refers to the interruption in the user's online experience. Like if you see a pop-up, this is very intrusive. If you go to a website and there's a pop-up that appears, that's very intrusive because you have to close it down or wait until the pop-up disappears. So pop-ups or pop-unders or interstitials, as we will see later, are highly intrusive because they interrupt your browsing experience. Banners are less intrusive, have very low intrusiveness. In fact, when we go to certain types of websites, like we go to BBC or CNN or any kind of news website, because we visit those websites very frequently, we kind of know where the banners are located implicitly. And it also means that during surfing, oftentimes we will not spend visual attention to those banners because we are only interested in the content in the news that the news website is offering. So the challenge in online advertising and especially digital display advertising is to be sufficiently intrusive to make sure that you have attention from the user, from the website visitor, without customers being annoyed, without annoying your customers because of the online ad. Because when your customers are annoyed, when your visitors are annoyed, what will they do? They will invest in various types of anti-advertisement tools, such as pop-up blockers. And that's also not desirable from an advertising perspective. Here you can see various types of display advertising. Here you can see text ads. It's just a piece of text. Here it's recommending pizza specials. Banner ads. This is a banner ad here on the BBC for Cathay Pacific, which is a very good airline that I flew with in the past. Skyscrapers, which are like banners, but then vertical, much like a skyscraper. So here you can see a skyscraper ad for Capital One, which is a very well-known bank. Pop-ups or pop-unders. A pop-up is a small advertising message that appears as soon as you log on to a website. To me, it's very annoying, so you can close it down. A pop-under appears behind the window that you just opened. So a pop-under will only become visible once you close the active window. So once you close the active window, you will see that there's still a pop-under with some kind of advertising message. Do note that browsers and various types of plugins may prevent pop-ups or pop-unders. So you can install them in case they are too annoying for your surfing experience. Other types of display advertising are interstitials. An interstitial ad is a full page ad loaded before the actual page. Here you can see an example in mobile advertising where an interstitial ad is being shown before the actual page is being shown. And there's no actions possible. It's not like you can scroll. It's not you can close it. You literally have to wait until the interstitial closes down after a certain amount of seconds. So that's a very high level of intrusiveness. So it can stay there only a few seconds. In certain types of cases, you may have the option maybe to close it earlier, but usually it will be timed. And once the interstitial disappears, you will be reverted to the intended page. Layer ads are also known as floating ads, and these are ads that move along as the visitor scrolls up or down the page. So they're very noticeable. They are very intrusive. So that means that your website content is only partially visible. To me, it's very annoying, but it might be successful to certain types of visitors when advertisers want quick attention and action. Here you can see an example of a layer ad with a red Porsche. Other types of display advertising are native display ads. These are designed to blend seamlessly with the site content. An example are in-feed ads on social media. For example, if you browse through your Instagram stories every now and then you will see advertising messages in there. Here you can see this is part of my Instagram storyline. You can see that there's some people I subscribe to and that I actually follow, like Sergio Ramos. He's a well-known soccer player, used to play for Real Madrid and then later on PSG. And here you can see Bar 9, which is a well-known bar at the Old Market in Leuven. So these are part of the Instagram pages that I follow. And you can see that some advertisements, some native display ads appear on my storyline about Uber Eats. And here this is about, I don't know, some kind of drink provided by a certain type of company. So that's an example of an in-feed ad on social media. Video display ads are ads that are being provided by video display platforms like YouTube. They can be skippable, for example, after 5 seconds, or they can not be skippable in case we refer to them as a bumper ad. You can have carousel ads as well. The carousel ads are the types of ads that display multiple images or even videos within a single ad unit, right? So that's a carousel ad. You can also have gamified or interactive display ads where there's some kind of gaming element in there that allows you to engage with the ad and hopefully be interested in the products or services that are being offered by the ad and ultimately convert. Search engine advertising, as I showed you in my introductory slide when we were setting the stage, takes the biggest chunk of online advertising. That means that we're going to rely on search engines to help us do the advertising. And in fact, there are two types of search engine advertising that you can think of. There's search engine optimization, which is SEO. That is smart search engine advertising, which you can do for free. So you don't have to pay for it. That's you do search engine optimization by optimizing your website in a very smart way. I'm going to give you an example of that in a moment. As opposed, search engine marketing is a paid form of search engine advertising where we're going to pay search engines like Google, Yahoo, or Bing to add sponsored links and paid listings to their search results page. Do note that all of this is based upon the insights that search engine users click more on results on the first page and higher placed results. Let's have a look. Let's say I would be looking for an example on credit risk modeling, a course on credit risk modeling course, right? Here you can see the Google search results when I type in credit risk modeling course. Here you can see this is these are paid links, these are sponsored links. So this is search engine marketing, right? And we will refer to that later on. That means if I click on this link, this is a course provided by DataCamp. That means that DataCamp will pay Google a certain amount for retrieving, for getting a lead from Google, right? This is actually a course that I helped develop. But here I also have some courses that are offered by myself, credit risk modeling, for example, and also another one here by Blue Courses, which is a company that I owned. It's an online digital platform offering various types of online courses. These are examples of search engine optimization because this link does not appear amongst the sponsored link section. It means that I did not pay Google to be there, to be on that first page and in that position of the search results. I'm there in a spontaneous way. That's search engine optimization. This is search engine marketing because DataCamp and here this company Actico, they paid Google to be there. So these are the most important ways of doing online advertising. If I do fraud analytics course, for example, you will see that DataCamp occurs again. So they pay Google to be there. But again, I also have a course myself, I think right here, Blue Courses, which is provided by my platform that occurs right there. So I'm there in an organic way. This is an example of search engine optimization. I did not pay Google to be there. So that means that for me, it does not make sense to invest into search engine advertising for the keywords fraud analytics or credit risk modeling because I already rank on the first page. On the contrary, with my company Blue Courses, we also have courses on web scraping. This is an example of a search term. Again, you see some sponsored search engine marketing as you can see that DataCamp again invested in this. I don't have any courses here on the first page, right? So that means that my web scraping course, as provided by Blue Courses, by my company, that does not appear on the first page of the Google search results. So it is unlikely to be found by someone looking for a web scraping course. So that means that if I want to invest, if I want to also add sponsored ads to Google, to the Google search results, I should not do it for the keywords credit risk modeling course and fraud analytics course because I already have that traffic. I already appear on the first page of the search results. But if I want to invest in Google Ads, I would better be doing it for the keywords web scraping course, for example, because there I don't appear on the first page of the search results. Good. How do those search engine how does a search engine work? In order to understand search engine advertising and search engine optimization and search engine marketing, you first need to understand how a search engine works, like Google. Every search engine, like Google, which is the well-known search engine that most of us use, Baidu, which is the Chinese version of Google, if you want, it's a different company, but it's a very popular search engine in China, and Bing is a search engine that has been provided by Microsoft. Every search engine has a crawler, spider, user agent, or search engine bot. These are all synonyms of one another, which is an automated program that continuously browses the web to discover new websites, to discover new web pages, and index those web pages in order for the search engine to understand what the website is about, what the web page is about, and so on, and to see where it should be listed amongst its search results. And those search engine bots will follow links from one page to another page, collecting data about the content and the structure of the web page, understanding what the web page is about, understanding what the website is about. And as such, it will help search engines rank and display relevant results for user queries. User queries like tennis shoes, like credit risk modeling course, like fraud analytics course, and so on. So these are programs that continuously browse the internet looking for new websites, new web pages, understanding what they're about, and seeing where they should be listed in the search results. Every of those bots, or most of them, if they obey what we call the bot protocol, which is a set of universally accepted rules for bots to crawl the web, all of them, if they obey the overall bot protocol, they will first visit the robots.txt file of every website before crawling any other pages. So every website has a robots.txt file, and I will show you that in a moment. And that's a file that tells search engine bots which part of the website they are allowed or disallowed to crawl. And it may also contain an XML sitemap, which lists the important pages or important URLs to help bots discover and index content efficiently. Let's have a look at the Nike robots.txt file. You can see that I went to nike.com, robots.txt. You can also do that yourself. So basically what this says, for any type of user agent, so for the Google bot, the Baidu spider, and so on, for all the spiders or bots from Google, Baidu, Bing, and so on, these are web pages of Nike, of the website Nike.com, which they are disallowed to see. So this is member inbox. This is the web page Nike.com /member /inbox. This is for Nike employees that want to check their email. That should obviously not be indexed by the Google bot or the Baidu or Bing bots. So other web pages that are disallowed to be seen by those bots and to be indexed by those bots are listed next. The Baidu spider is the spider or the bot that is being used by Baidu, which is the Chinese search engine. It's allowed to look at all the pages that from this subdirectory, CN. CN stands probably for China. So that means that the Chinese version of the Nike website has this subdirectory structure. How Zoo Spider is another Chinese spider. You can also only look at Chinese versions of the or Chinese web pages of the Nike website, and here you can see it for some other spiders as well. Here you can see the site maps that can also be used by the bots to better understand what the website is all about. Let's have a look at the landing page sitemap right here. Right here, click up. Here you can see the sitemap for the landing page, and you can see that the landing page is actually different for different types of countries, depending what country you're logging on to. NL probably stands for the Netherlands, so that will be the landing page in case you're logging on from the Netherlands. Here you can see Belgium, and for Belgium it has German, a landing page from the German part. It has an English language page, a French language page, and a Dutch language page. For Canada, it has a French language landing page and an English landing page. So this is all specified in the sitemap. And you can look at some other sitemaps if you want right here as well. Okay, so let's go back to, so this is what the bots will do. They will first visit the robots.txt file before crawling onto the other pages. Google will make use of the Google PageRank algorithm to decide where pages should rank in the search results. The basic intuition of the PageRank algorithm states that a page is important, hence has a high page rank, is if it has a lot of incoming links from other pages with high page ranks. So a page is important if it has lots of incoming links from other pages with high page ranks. So in essence, what it does is it relies on the democratic nature of the web, using the link structure as votes for the value or the page rank of an individual page. In other words, if you look at the picture to the left, Google will interpret a link from page B to page C, this is this link, as a vote cast by page B for page C. But important to know is that Google looks at more than the links a page receives and also analyzes the page that casts the vote, because here you can see that page C gets a vote from page B, which has a page rank of 38.4. So that's a very important vote because page B is a very important page. If page C would have received a link from page F, this would not have been worth that much because page F only has a page rank of 3.9. So an incoming link or vote from page B is a lot more important for page C than an incoming link from page F. So votes cast by pages that are important will weigh more heavily in calculating the Google PageRank. So here you can see, as a result of this principle, as a result of this idea, site C is more important than, or page C is more important than page E, although it is less linked to, but it has a link from a very important page B. Here you can see the formula of PageRank and how the PageRank of a particular page is calculated. So the PageRank of page I is composed out of two parts which are summed and which are weighted with a damping factor alpha. Alpha is a damping parameter which in Google is set automatically or by default to 0.85. So this is 0.85 here. This is 1 minus 0.85 or 0.15 EI. EI is the kind of default value or restart value for page I, which is uniformly distributed. That means that at the start of calculating the page ranks, and we will show an example of that in a moment, every page will start off with the same page rank value. So if we have 10 pages, for example, every page can start with a page rank value of 1, and then the page rank calculations will be iteratively updated as we will see in what follows. Let's have a look at this part. Page rank J, and J belongs to NI. So NI is the set of pages connecting or linking to page I. So this is the set of pages that have direct links to page I. N stands for neighborhood, the neighborhood of page I that refers to the set of pages that link to page I. So that's the incoming links to page I. All the pages in there. PRJ is then the page rank of each of those pages in NI, and we divide by the number of outgoing links from page J. So KJ is the number of outgoing links. So in essence, page I will have a high page rank, so PRI will be high, if it has lots of incoming links from other pages with high page ranks, in this case, page rank J, pages which only have a few outgoing links for which KJ out is small. In this case, PRI will be high. Okay, let's have a look. Here you can see an example of 3 pages right here that are interconnected. So the arrows indicate the connections, right? So we have a link from A to B, from C to B, and A and C mutually link to one another. So we will calculate the page ranks using these formulas. Page rank A is 0.15. This is the damping parameter, or 1 minus the damping parameter, plus 0.85 times page rank C divided by 2. Why page rank C divided by 2? Hang on, let's have a look. So page A has 1 incoming link from page C, so hence page rank C. And C has 2 outgoing links, so it has 1 to B, has 1 to A, so we have to divide by 2. Page rank B, likewise here, but B has 2 incoming links, so we have to take into account page rank A and C. And since A has 2 outgoing links, we have to divide by 2. And since C has 2 outgoing links, we have to divide by 2 as well. Same goes for page rank C. We start by assigning the same page rank in iteration 0 to each page. And then we calculate these formulas iteratively, step by step, because page rank A depends upon page rank C, but page rank C also depends upon page rank A. So we have some mutual dependence. So we have to calculate that a few times until we have stability in the final number. So you can see from iteration 10 onwards, the page ranks start to converge, only very small adjustments, and that means that they stabilize. That means that the most important page in terms of the page rank is page rank B. Right, it's page B. It has the highest page rank, so that's the most important page when we focus on the page rank. And the page rank will tell us how high a page will rank together in the search results for a particular type of search query, obviously also depending upon the content of the search query and the content of the page. Okay, so now that we know how search engines work, we can get into a little bit more detail about search engine optimization, SEO. Remember, the idea of search engine optimization is to make sure that links to your website rank high in the search result in an organic, in a spontaneous way, without having to pay the search engine, Google, for example, for it. And we can do that in a ethically responsible way, which is what we call white hat SEO, in a legitimate way, or we can do that in a malicious way, which is obviously not what we should do, but some websites will engage into that, unfortunately. White hat SEO is legitimate. It's okay. It's legit. It's according to the rules, and it's based upon an ethical optimization following the search engine guidelines as they are published on any search engine to improve the website's ranking in the search results in a spontaneous way. Black hat SEO is a little bit of mob practice. It's unethical. It's malicious. It's actually fraudulent. What you're going to do is you're going to use manipulative techniques, violating the search engine guidelines, hoping to stay unnoticed, to make sure that you rank high. But obviously, when you get noticed by the search engine to be engaged into black hat SEO, you will get punished. Oftentimes, the punishments will be penalties or actually be de-indexing or delisted. De-indexing or delisted means that you will no longer be included in the search engine results, in the Google search engine results, because you have been engaged into black hat SEO. Let's elaborate on some of these tactics. First, white hat SEO. White hat SEO is legitimate, so that's okay. You can do that. I've done that with my website Blue Courses, for example. There's various types. There's on-page SEO, there's technical SEO, and there's off-page SEO, as I will discuss on my next slide. On-page SEO means that I make sure that every page on my website is carefully designed and appropriately tells the search engine what it is all about, using relevant search terms in the titles of the page, in the headings of the page, in the meta tags. Meta tags are HTML tags that tell search engines what the page is all about. So in other words, I make sure that the content of every web page is clearly specified and clearly informs the search engine what the page is all about. And can do that using HTML header tags. Make sure I make use of HTML header tags, header 1, header 2, header 3, to clearly convey what my web page is all about, important products I'm offering, important services I'm offering, and so on. I also have to make sure that my web pages are internally well linked to one another, because make sure I have a good linking structure on my web page such that when the search bot, like the Google bot or the Baidu bot, visits my web page, it can very effectively and efficiently navigate through my website during its crawling process, which will help it to identify what my website is all about. If I have images on my website, JPEGs or GIFs, make sure that the file names of those images are clear. Like if I have a website about tennis shoes, I can say sneakers.jpg, JPEG, sneakers.gif, or tennissocks.jpg, etc. to make sure that the images have descriptive file names. Provide alternative textual descriptions for the image, because that can also be used by the search engine bots to understand what your web page is about, what your website is about. Make sure I have SEO-friendly URLs. Make sure the URL already conveys some information about your website. So if I have a website that is selling tennis shoes and the URL is tennisshoes.com, that's already telling Google quite a lot of information. If I would have referred to it as bart.com and it's selling tennis shoes, then obviously that doesn't convey a lot of information, and that would be not very meaningful. So short descriptive URLs containing a lot of information, as much information as possible about what the website is offering, is very important. Make sure your websites are also mobile friendly, that they can very easily be browsed on a mobile, and that they are very responsive. If I swipe or if I zoom into certain parts, that the website behaves appropriately. Then we have a few aspects of technical search engine optimization. The idea is to make sure that the website can be loaded very fast, efficiently, that the site has good speed, that there are XML sitemaps, see the example I gave from Nike, that allow the search bots to efficiently navigate through the website, find the landing pages, find all interesting pages that should be visited. Obviously, also make sure you use the robots.txt file, because that will guide the search engine bots throughout the website, control which pages can be crawled, not be crawled. Make sure you don't have any broken links. A broken link is a link that doesn't work on your website, and if somebody navigates a broken link, they will receive page not found error 404. Make sure to also avoid unnecessary redirects. Redirect means that you visit page A, and in the HTML code, there's a redirect that immediately redirects the visitor to page B. Oftentimes, this is not recommended, as it may confuse search engine bots and not help you with doing good white hat SEO. Make sure your website is well encrypted using the HTTPS encryption protocol, and you can also, if you want, explicitly submit your page to the search engine and ask it to be indexed. So you can submit your page or website to the search engine and it will index it for you. I told you about the PageRank algorithm, and the PageRank algorithm says that the PageRank of a page is important if it has lots of incoming links from other important pages with high PageRanks. So in other words, when you want to do white hat SEO, it's important to have good incoming links. Good incoming links. So try to get links from reputable sites. In other words, sites with a high PR or with a high PageRank. If I have links from reputable sites with high PageRank, then it will also increase the PageRank of my website. Obviously, there's some room for malicious practice in there because I could also pay other websites to link to my website. If I would do that, that's an example of black hat SEO, as we will see in a moment. So white hat SEO means that you have good, meaningful links from reputable sites that link to your website. Make sure you contribute various types of blogs and guest blogging sites, contribute content to other sites, and in your content, make sure that you have a link to your website. For example, for my Blue Courses platform, I regularly contribute to various types of online fora about any aspects related to my field of expertise, which is credit risk modeling, machine learning, and fraud. And at the end, I always state something like, for more information, see my Blue Courses platform, because that gives me a backlink and will allow me to also increase the page rank of my Blue Courses website and pages. An opportunity would be if you find broken links on other sites. What you can do if you find broken links on fora or online discussion fora websites, for example, you can try and suggest your content as a replacement because it can create an extra link to your website. Social media visibility is really very important, including all kinds of hashtags and mentions that you can use there to create brand awareness to your to products and services that you're offering, and maybe also complement these with links to your webpage. Okay, then we have black hat SEO. Black hat SEO is malicious. It's fraudulent. It's not legitimate. It should not be done, but unfortunately, it's being done by some websites because they want to use malicious practice to rank high in the search results. And that's being done by keyword stuffing. So you're filling your website with irrelevant keywords with the mere purpose of attracting traffic. So if I have my website, tennisshoes.com, and I launch it, I could put all kinds of keywords on there which don't relate to my website. Like, think about what would be popular. Well, a popular keyword could be like Taylor Swift, right? So I'm having a website on selling tennis shoes, and I put some hidden keywords on there. That's what we call keyword stuffing, relating to Taylor Swift, because I know many people look up information about her, and then they will arrive at my website about tennis shoes, and I'm hoping that by doing that, that they might be interested in my website. That's what we call keyword stuffing, adding irrelevant keywords to your website for the mere sake of getting traffic. And most of the times, that traffic will consist of people that are actually not interested in buying tennis shoes from your website, but are indeed more interested in more Taylor Swift-alike stuff. That's keyword stuffing. Cloaking is another type of black hat SEO practice. The idea of cloaking is to show different content to search bots to confuse them than to users. So you're trying to confuse the search bots and show them popular content to attract traffic so that users will click on the links provided by the search engines, get to your website. So you're trying to lure traffic by providing search bots different types of content. Hidden text, for example, keywords or links on a transparent background. So you have text or keywords that are not seen by the users when they visit your website because it's on a transparent background, but it's seen by the search engine bots, and it will be included in their search engine information in the indexing of your web page. And they might get confused, the search engine bots, that because you have some hidden text. Again, you have a hidden text, for example, that states the name Taylor Swift. You can't see it on if you log on to your website because it's hidden, but the search engine bot can see it and will include it in its search engine index. Another way of cloaking is a doorway page. A doorway page is like opening a door. That means that you don't pay attention to the door, but you're actually being lured into a website. And that's typically using a redirect. A doorway page will transfer the visitor from the chosen page to an unrelated page using a redirect. Here you can see that an HTML tag, which is essentially doing a redirect. So I could, what I could have done, again, taking the example of Taylor Swift, I could have made a website which is like, of which the URL is www.taylorswift.com. I assume that's already taken, but let's assume that's not taken. So I can actually develop a website, taylorswift.com, by that domain. And as soon as somebody logs on to that website, I do a refresh to www.tennisshoes.com. So it comes to my website. So I'm attracting traffic by means of a redirect, being redirected from taylorswift.com to tennisshoes.com. That's what we call a doorway page. What happens is that this meta tag is executed as soon as somebody visits the taylorswift.com page. So that's a refresh. That means that here you can see the new content becomes the URL, and it tells the browser to wait for 0 seconds. So there's an immediate redirect from taylorswift.com to mytennisshoes.com new web page. That's a doorway page that I have created to lure traffic in a malicious way using black hat SEO from Taylor Swift, which is not what my website is all about, to tennisshoes.com. That's a redirect. So that's a refresh. Here it says the new content should be refreshed after 0 seconds, and it should direct to my tennisshoes.com page. Clickbait titles. So I devise all kinds of malicious clickbait titles to mislead users, right? So for example, a clickbait title could be that I have a social media account and I say new hot news about Taylor Swift, but I lead them to my tennisshoes.com website. That's a clickbait title. I can make sure another way of doing black hat SEO is to post fake reviews to boost your authority and to manipulate. For example, the students attending this course, I could say, all students attending this course, if you develop a website yourself, just a fake website, I will give you €5 for every link you make to my website, tennisshoes.com. What I'm actually doing is I'm establishing a link form because all the students then make up a link form. I pay them €5 for linking to my website, hoping that the page rank of my website will increase and that I will list higher in the Google search engine results. A link form is a set of malicious websites that maliciously link to a website in return for some money, obviously, to boost that website's page rank. You can also program a bot or a software program yourself to mass post links in blog comments or forums. I can also engage into reciprocal linking schemes. That means that I jointly agree with a set of my friends to say, look, I'm going to link to your website, please link to my website, merely for the sake of linking, such that my page rank increases and that I will link higher in the Google search engine results. That's black hat SEO. What happens with black hat SEO if it's being detected by the search engine? If Google detects black hat SEO, the ranking to your website will be downgraded. If it's only a particular set of pages, Google may decide, but that's at Google's discretion, to only exclude specific type of pages. That means partial de-indexing. It means that some of your pages are still in the search results, other ones are left out. Or when you're really engaged into some severe black hat SEO, Google can actually also decide to ban your site from the search results, not include them at all anymore. That means that you're being severely punished. Another way of doing black hat SEO is to target your competitors. Instead of doing black hat SEO for myself, for tennis shoes, I can have a competitor, like maybe my competitor is tennissneakers.com. That's my competitor website. And what I can do is I'm using black hat SEO against this competitor's website, tennissneakers.com. So I'm building spam links, right, to tennissneakers.com, scraping their content, creating duplicate content issues, and so on, because I want my competitor, tennissneakers.com, to get penalized by search engines and be downgraded, because if they get downgraded, I will be upgraded. That's what we call competitor black hat SEO. So let's now look at search engine marketing, which is the paid version. So that means I'm going to pay the search engine, I'm going to pay Google, I'm going to pay Baidu, I'm going to pay Bing or Yahoo for making sure that sponsored links appear at the top of the search results. And this will be based upon an auction process, which involves bidding on keywords. Keywords could be like credit risk modeling course, tennis shoes, tennis sneakers, fraud analytics course, to make sure that ads or links to my website are posted at the top of the search engine results, such that if somebody enters credit risk modeling course, that I appear at the top. Remember, for my Blue Courses website, that was not very meaningful because I already appear on the first page. If I wanted to do it for Blue Courses, remember the example I showed you earlier, I would better bid for keywords like web scraping course. So the idea here is to come up with an advertising campaign, which I can also, in which I can also specify a targeted audience. I can say, who do I want to target? I can target based upon geography. I can say I want to target US customers. I want to target European customers. I can also target based upon the time of day. I want to say I want my ads to appear during the afternoon. I want to target based upon demographics. I want my ads to be targeted towards females, towards youngsters, towards people who are heavily into sports or into tennis and so on, assuming obviously that the search engine has that information. So it allows to target ads based upon keywords customers are searching for, but also based upon their location, their demographics, their age, their gender, and even their browse behavior, because search engines can track browse behavior across websites by means of ad networks, as we will see later on. The search engine marketing campaigns will also offer you any types of analytics and reporting to see how well the campaign performs, to see how often the ad has been clicked, how often it has been shared, how many impressions of my website I have received thanks to the online advertising, how many conversions, how many people actually saw the ad and actually made a purchase on my website. And actually, also, I can also, using those analytics and reporting tools, also get an idea about the return on my ad campaign or ad spend. The most expensive keywords that are being used in search engines nowadays relate to legal stuff, like you will see lawyer and attorney. These are very expensive keywords. Insurance is also a very expensive keyword, or any related keyword like mortgage insurance or car insurance. Any type of keywords related to loans and mortgages or health issues or health products or health problems are obviously highly expensive. How does it work? So Google Ads is the ads platform that is being used by Google. It's based on a real-time auction. It means it's in milliseconds. As soon as you enter a search term on Google, there's like an auction that takes place in real time. So I entered credit risk modeling course, a real-time auction that only takes a few milliseconds is being conducted. If I would add tennis shoes, a real-time auction only taking a few milliseconds is being conducted by Google. And during that auction, it is decided which ads will appear in the sponsored ads section at the top of the search results. In doing so, Google Ads will first identify the eligible ads. So it was going to scan advertisers, tennis shoe companies or online course companies, any type of advertisers whose keywords, targeting setting, like when they want their ads to be seen, what time of day, on what device, in what location they want their ads to be seen, and so on. And it's going to try and match this with the search query. The search query could be running shoes, and then Google will look for advertisers whose keywords, targeting settings, and match the search query. And in doing so, it will calculate an ad rank for each of those eligible ads. And that will be based upon the bid. That's the maximum amount the advertiser, so my site, for example, tennisshoes.com, is willing to pay for a click. So that's the maximum cost per click I'm willing to pay. So if I have a sponsored ad to my website, tennisshoes.com on Google, and somebody clicks it after having entered running shoes or tennis shoes in Google, for example, then obviously I will have to pay Google if I receive a click from Google towards my website. Google will also calculate a quality score. So that's a score between 1 and 10, which Google assigns to an ad based upon the relevance to the search query, right? The expected click-through rate, CTR, and the quality of the landing page experience. This is something that Google will calculate and that it will use to decide upon how high the ad will be ranked amongst the search results. It will also look at the expected impact of ad extensions, like a site link extension, structured snippet extension, and so on. Here you can see some examples. Here you can see some ads. Here you can see this is for Nike shoes. This is some text that comes with it. So that's what we call a structured snippet extension. Here we have a location extension as well, where the address is being mentioned. And then we have some additional site link extensions that come with it. Okay. So it will also take that into account as part of calculating the ad rank. And then we'll look at ads with the highest ad rank that meets a particular type of threshold that is being set by Google upfront. It will look at the ads with the highest ad rank that win the ad ranks with the highest ad ranks, and those that win the auction are displayed on the search result page, obviously in descending order of the ad rank. In that case, in the ads advertiser is displayed, it will pay just enough to beat the ad rank of the advertiser below, plus a small increment. So it's a bit similar mechanism that is being adopted here, like proxy bidding in eBay. So that's how Google calculates the ad rank. Based upon the bid, quality score, expected impact of ad extensions, and it then will calculate and do an auction and look for the ads with the highest ad ranks, rank them first on the search result page in descending order of the ad rank. Okay. Okay, so let's now look at another type of online marketing, which is social media marketing. Here we're going to make use of social media ads as they appear on any of your social media accounts: Instagram, LinkedIn, X, TikTok, Facebooks, maybe Snapchat, etc. The idea is to reach audience through social media platforms, messaging apps, and also news feeds. By using social media, it will increase brand awareness. Social media is a very important accelerator for increasing brand awareness, drive engagement, generate leads, boost conversions, and so on. And usually, the types of social media ads that are being used there are image, video, or carousel ads, reels, which are short vertical videos that we all love when we kind of swipe our stories or look at our Instagram feed, etc. Messenger ads, etc. Social media marketing is based upon the idea of social proof, because why am I connected to certain types of people on Instagram? Because they kind of intrigue me, because they're my friends, I have a good relationship with them, or I follow certain types of people that intrigue me, that I'm very passionate about. So the idea of social proof is that people often like what their friends like. So if my friend likes a certain type, my friend is also playing tennis and I'm connected on Instagram, and he or she posts a message about tennis shoes that they're very happy with, it will most likely influence myself as well. That's the idea of social proof. People often like what their friends like, and that's the idea that is being used in social media marketing. And just like Google, social media will also use real-time auctioning. So if you log on to Instagram, it will do a real-time auction of what ads should be put there on your timeline based upon all kinds of information: your user interest, who you are, who you're connected with on Instagram, what you liked, what you shared, what you posted, what kind of social Instagram messages you commented on. So based upon your Instagram or social media interest or behavior, it will actually use that information for ad placement together with the ad relevance score, the ad quality, the advertiser bid is if it's a trustworthy, very trustworthy advertiser bid, and also it will make an estimation of an action like a click, a swipe, a share, or whatever type of action. So based on that, it will conduct a real-time auctioning for deciding upon ad placement. And the conversions that social media marketing is aiming for could be anything. It could be a purchase, which is the ultimate conversion. It could be a lead. That means that you submit your details using an online form and say, I want to obtain more information about this product or service. It could be installing an app. You can have an advertisement for an app. It could be a video view or just a page or a post like. So you have like hard conversions. The hard conversion is the purchase or an app install. A soft conversion could be a video view, a page or a post like, or maybe submitting your personal details through a form. Let's have a look at an example of using the Instagram API for marketing. API stands for Application Programming Interface, and we discussed this in part B of this chapter. That's a way of communicating with an external website or platform by means of function calls. You still remember? So I can, if I have a website, I can talk to Instagram by means of API, by means of its API. Instagram has an API which is publicly accessible to the outside world, and Instagram decides itself what it wants to publish to the outside world. So let's say I have an online clothing store and I want to you also use a dashboard to decide upon my Instagram campaigns. So in order to do this, my website will connect with the Instagram API with authorization. I have to log on to Instagram. Instagram has to authorize my website. It will do that through its API. And through its API, what I can do on my clothing store website then as I can schedule and publish posts or ads on Instagram without logging on into Instagram. And I can afterwards also retrieve performance analytics. I can see how often has my ad or post being seen on Instagram, how many likes did I receive, how many people commented, how many people clicked on it and arrived back at my website. And I can manage any comments and direct messages, DMs I have. I can respond to customers, moderate user interactions from my own website or app, which connects to Instagram using the API. Here you can see an example of how this could look out. So that's my website, fancyclothing.com, uh, something that I generated using ChatGPT, and you can see that there's a typo here. It's fancy. It should be fancy clothing, right? So probably ChatGPT made a small error in there, but that's not important. So that's my online website that is providing fancy clothing, right? So this is a fake website. It's a mock-up I made using ChatGPT. But interesting part is here I have my catalog, right, with my dress, sweaters, and tops. And here I have campaigns that I can click on, which will allow me through the Instagram API to launch an Instagram campaign. So here I can have my store. I have like a campaign that I can develop on my website, and then I can post it to Instagram because I'm connected. You can see that right here through the API by calling Instagram. I connected to Instagram, and I can schedule this post somewhere at some date in the future. Using my campaigns functionality, I, as the owner of this website or app, can also monitor the success on Instagram. I can do some basic analytics. How many impressions did my ads get on Instagram during the previous 1 month, 2 months? How many likes did they get? How many comments did they get? How many shares did they get? And I can also retrieve all the comments and direct messages that people put on Instagram. So you can see my website, fancyclothing.com, connects to Instagram, interacts with Instagram, allows me to do advertising on Instagram, and allows me to actually monitor the success of the advertising on Instagram, all by making use of the API. Influencer marketing is also another type of marketing, which is very important in the online world, where brands are going to collaborate with individuals, which we call influencers, which have a very big and loyal audience to promote their products or services. Focus is, of course, on creating trust and making use of influencers who are trustworthy and have good authenticity. And the influencers may then share some of their personal endorsements that resonate well with their followers. We can make a distinction between different type of influencers, macro and mini influencers. Macro influencers, well, you can debate a bit about uh, when is somebody a macro influencer, but usually it's about 100,000 plus followers on Instagram. When I was preparing this slide deck, once you'll see me in real life, you will undoubtedly see that I'm not far from a fashion expert, but I learned about this fashion brand, fashion influencer, which is called Chiara Ferragni. I don't know whether some of you may know her, but she has 28 million followers on Instagram, which is not bad, right? So fashion brands may decide to collaborate with her to showcase some of their new clothing lines on Instagram, and obviously she will earn money with that. In Belgium, we have a very well-known influencer, which is called Average Rob, for example. Micro influencers are on a smaller scale, 1 to 100,000, but it's not a hard cutoff. That could be like fitness brands that send gear or equipment to personal trainers on TikTok with 30,000 followers to wear them during some of their workout videos, hoping to create some advertising by doing so. Ad networks. Ad networks, and we already saw an example of a network which was actually Google Ads. Let's first go to the example of BBC. So I log on to BBC. You can see I checked the news. There's unfortunately, when I prepared this course, there's some horrible news here. But anyway, here this is an advertisement. You can see at the top. So there's an ad network, and that's Google Ads that decides that which ad should be put here. Yeah. Here you can see the advertisement that is being put. I'm not going to click it. I don't know what it's exactly about, but the ad is being put there by Google Ads. So Google Ads is going to look at what the website is about. This is a news website. It's going to look at everything it knows about me. You can see I'm signed in with my Google account right here, Bart. So that means that it knows Bart is being signed in to this web page. So based upon some previous actions I did, based upon the information it has, it knows I'm a male, it knows I'm about 50 years old, it knows my browsing behavior, is going to put an ad right there. I wouldn't say it's very successful right now because I don't know what the ad is all about. I'm not going to click it. But that's the ad that is being put there thanks to an ad network, which is Google Ads in this respect. So it looks at the content of the website, knows what I'm about to visit. No, it knows what I visited before and it decided on the ads right there. Let's do a page reload and let's see what I have a different ad. Right. Now I have a different ad, which is about business leaders, right? So that's a little bit more interesting to me. Meet the new generation of business leaders, probably with some presentations and some more information. So that's something that is already more interesting to me. So let's do another one. So it kind of rotates the ad. That's what we refer to as rotating the ad. Energy communities for energy transitions that could be based upon maybe some of the work I did with Blue Courses. And as you go down the website, you will see that there's more ads which are being put right there. Here you can see, okay, here you can see some ads for, and that's more relevant because I recently actually bought not a chair like that. I'm not that old yet to use these kind of chairs, but I recently was looking for purchasing um, something like this. But so it kind of caught my attention and put this advertisement right there based upon my earlier search behavior. And that's all being catered for by an ad network. So Google Ads or an ad network, and there's also Microsoft Ads and Meta Ads and Amazon advertising. They're all ad networks. They're an intermediary between advertisers and publisher. The publisher was BBC. The advertisers were the companies that put the ads that sponsored the ads on there. So the network and the publisher, in case I click it, in case I would have clicked the ads on the BBC website, the publisher, which is BBC, would get share of the revenue, and the network, Google Ads, would also get share of the revenue. Each network may have its own profile in terms of the types of publishers, size-wise, like the minimum traffic they require, the sector it wants to focus on, and so on. So ad networks may focus on some of these subsegments. And the idea is to aggregate ad space or inventory from many publishers. So you saw on the BBC website that we had an ad space at the top of the website, and we had an ad space somewhere halfway through the website and maybe lower down as well. So this ad space or inventory for ads is actually aggregated from many publishers and then sold to the advertisers like Microsoft Ads, Google Ads. So if a news website has 1 million page views per month, and if it has 3 ad slots per page, so on the BBC website we saw 2 ad slots, then it can offer, if it has 3 ad slots, 3 million ad impressions. These ad networks can also come with brand safety controls to make sure that you can tailor where your ads should be shown, that such that your ads don't show up on pages with inappropriate content. So a luxury brand, for example, think about a Rolex watches, that could be a luxury brand, can make sure that its advertisements are not being shown on low quality or controversial websites. It only wants to be shown on websites discussing other types of luxury products. Okay. So these ad networks have benefits for the advertiser and the publisher because as a publisher, BBC doesn't have to take care of the advertising itself. The advertising is being catered for by Google. So it brings together groups of advertisers and publishers. There's quality control of the accepted partner. So if an advertiser is advertising inappropriately or a publisher is publishing inappropriate content, it may be kicked out of the ad network. There's automatic ad rotation. So when I refresh the BBC website, other ads appeared. And it allows the publisher and the advertiser to control various types of campaign parameters like volume capping. So you can say a particular type of ad, I only want it to be shown 1,000 times. That's a volume capping. A publisher can say, I only want to display this type of ads, banners that should always have a visual with it. It can also block certain types of ads. I don't want to display this type of ads. The publisher can say, I don't want to display this type of ads, or the advertiser can say, I don't want my ads to be displayed on this type of websites. Various forms of targeting, right? So I can say I target publishers that only discuss these kind of topics, or I want to target people I want to target females, I want to target youngsters, I want to target sport fanatics, etc. We're going to talk about targeting in a moment. The ad networks also allow you to track the performance of your ads, right? How many people have seen the ads is what we refer to as impressions. How many people clicked through it, arrived at my website, all ways of measuring ad campaign performance. And actually, that's a type of targeted advertising because everybody that logs on a BBC website, if you would log on to BBC website, you're going to see other ads than I did, right? That's personalization or targeted advertising. And the targeting goes very far because you can make many of these ad networks combine both contextual targeting as well as behavioral targeting. Contextual targeting looks at the web page content only. It's based upon keywords on the web page, text on the web page, headers on the web page. So it's through keyword matching and just mere analysis of the web page content. So an example of contextual targeting would be a sportswear ad on a web page about marathon training, because the web page mentions a lot about marathon training and a sportswear ad appears on there just because of the contextual match. Behavioral targeting is based upon sites visited before. So you still remember when I went to BBC, you saw some advertisement about chairs. That's because I was Googling for buying a chair a couple of days ago, and that search was captured by Google. So it knows I'm interested in chairs. So it's going to do behavioral targeting based upon the sites I visited before, searches I performed, interactions with previous ads. It's going to do behavioral targeting. An example could be that if I visit a travel site first, then later on you might see ads for hotels or flights and so on because the ad network has captured the fact that you visited a travel site before. So behavioral targeting is based upon sites visited, search performs, interactions with previous ads. Most ad networks will do a combination of contextual and behavioral targeting. The ad networks have various types of targeting mechanisms. They can geo-target. That means that they want their ads to be displayed only in the US, only in Europe, only in Belgium, only in Africa, and they track your location by means of your IPA, by means of GPS, or by means of cookies, as we will see later. They can also do demographic targeting, target males age 18 to 34, or psychographic based upon your interests, like travel enthusiasts, sport fanatics, and so on. They can do day parting. That means that they cut the day into parts and they say they want their ads to only appear in business hours, special days of the week. They only want their ads to appear on Friday, during the weekend, etc. They can also target based upon bandwidth, based upon broadband access, yes or no. And a very exciting thing is that they can also do pixel targeting or retargeting. That's a very exciting mechanism, often adopted by these ad networks. So let's have a look at how pixel or retargeting works. And before we discuss pixel or retargeting, we need to explain a few words about what a cookie is. Any website you visit nowadays is going to put a cookie or a small text file on your laptop, on your machine, or on your smartphone, on your iPhone. It's going to put a small text file, a TXT file. I visited the BBC website during the demo, so it put a cookie on my machine. If I visit Amazon, it's going to put a cookie on my machine. A cookie is a small text string that the web server, so the Amazon web server, the BBC web server, is going to send to my web browser. I was visiting using Chrome, so it's going to send it to my web browser, to Chrome, and it's going to store this within the Chrome directory on my laptop or a smartphone. So it stores it on a user's laptop or smartphone. That's a very small text file, and you can ask for cookies. You can inspect it, or you can also block cookies. If you don't want this because you consider that to be too privacy intrusive, you can block cookies. The thing is that the first time I visit the BBC website, it's going to put a cookie on my machine, and every next visit I do on the BBC website is going to send the cookie along. So that cookie contains a user ID. Let's say that the user ID is 123456789. First time I visit bbc.com, it puts the text file with that user ID. Every next time I visit a web page on bbc.com, it's going to send the cookie along such that the BBC knows that user 123456789 is first visiting the main page of BBC, then looking at sports, then looking at tennis, then looking at Wimbledon, etc. So using that user ID, which is stored in a cookie, which is being sent along every time I visit a web page on BBC, BBC knows who I am and it can track me across the BBC website, right? Amazon also does the same thing. Every website you visit using your mobile phone or laptop is going to put a cookie on your laptop or your mobile phone. And the browser, Chrome or Firefox or Safari, will send that cookie back each time to the Amazon server, to the BBC server, to Instagram, and each time you're actually asking for a new page to be seen or you're sending a new request to it. Now, cookie contains a user ID. Here I made up the user ID, some customized data it can contain as well. So if I want have some layout settings, I want the font size to be a bit bigger. I want every website to be displayed in English, even the Dutch-speaking websites. All of that information is part of the customized data stored in a cookie. Product ID is added to the cart. And it's also going to contain a domain and the path, which tells you which browser, which tells the browser which site the cookie belongs to. It could be www.amazon.com or bbc.com. It can also expire after a certain date, so that means that the cookie can also contain an expiration date after which it will be automatically become invalid. Now, cookies can be used. Here you can see an example of how cookies are used. So I went to the BBC website. So this is me. This is Bart. The user is me. That's Bart. That's BBC. The user is me. That's Bart. Sorry. I visit website one server. That's BBC. So I visited the BBC website, and an ad on there was being put by Google Analytics. So the ad, still remember the ad, so I had an ad for chairs and I had some other ads as well, is being put there by a third-party server. The third-party server is Google, right? So the third-party server looks at the BBC website, looks at what it's all about, looks at me, it's Bart visiting the BBC website. So it's going to tailor the ad towards it's going to do some contextual and some behavioral targeting, remember, and then it's going to put the ad on there. And in returning the ad, it's going to set a cookie. So Google Analytics is going to set a cookie on the BBC website such that it knows that Bart has seen this particular ad, right? So as soon as I visit BBC and I see the ad is being set by Google, and Google will set a cookie. Okay, so let's now say that I click this ad. If I click this ad with the chairs, I'm sending information to Google, and actually Google knows this guy is interested in buying a chair. Next, I still have to make up my mind about which chair I'm going to buy, but I visit another website. Let's say I'm interested in American news and I go to CNN.com because I want to see what's different there. What happens is that CNN is website 2. This is user. This is again Bart. Bart visits CNN 2. So the website server 2 is now CNN. CNN is also using Google Ads for its advertising. So what happens is that an ad is being put there, and the ad is being retrieved again from Google. This is Google. But when retrieving the ad, it always sends the cookie along. So the cookie that was placed here on BBC is now being sent along. So by sending that ad along to Google, Google knows that, hey, this guy previously visited BBC. He has seen an advertisement advertising chairs, and he clicked it. So he's probably interested in buying a chair. So I'm going to put a new ad right there, which advertises chairs, right? So that's how it works, because the cookie is being put right here and tracks the click of me clicking on the chair advertisement on BBC. And as soon as I log on to CNN, that same cookie is being sent back to Google. So Google recognizes me as Bart, having visited BBC already earlier and having clicked that chair ad. And that way it can actually put a new ad on the CNN website, which is advertising chairs, right? Hoping that I'm going to click it, hoping that it will lead me to the advertiser's website that sells chairs, and hoping that I will convert there and actually buy a chair. That's how cookies work in order to do this redirection or retargeting, I would have to say. So here you can see I visit a website, BBC, or let's say it's an online shoe store to look at shoes, but I don't buy. What happens then is that a tracking pixel, that's a small image file, or a cookie, typically it will be a cookie, will be placed on the laptop or iPhone. So the ad network will add a very tiny invisible image, a pixel or a cookie, a small file that remembers you visited that web page and saw that ad, saw a particular type of ad. I leave the website and then I browse other sites. I check the news. I check my social media. Each of them can have can use the ad network for serving ads on their platform, on their website. So the ad network will recognize me because of the pixel or cookie that is being sent along to the ad network. So the ad network knows that I visited a shoe store before, and later on you will start seeing ads for shoes. As you will visit other websites, you will see that ads for shoes starts to appear, reminding you to come back and hopefully buy. That's how it works. That's a retarget mechanism through cookies that are being set by ad networks. They continuously monitor what ads you have seen before, where you clicked on, and they kind of profile you. This is an example of behavioral targeting, in this case used for retargeting. So the potential customer visits the website, leave without checking out. They later serve the website, and the ad recaptures their interest and brings them back. Hopefully, they will then return into customers and convert. Okay. Okay, so that brings us to pricing models. There's various types of pricing models that can be adopted here, right, for online advertising. Cost per click is the most frequently used. That means that there's a flat fee that is paid by the advertiser each time someone clicks on an ad. Cost per action is less frequently used, but that's when the advertiser pays when a specific action occurs after a click, after a purchase, or once a purchase has been made, once a sign up is being done, or an app has been downloaded. You can also agree on a cost per mille impressions or a cost per 1,000 ad impressions. Cost per install, that means that the advertiser only pays when someone installs the app or after interacting with the app. And there's also hybrid pricing models that are obviously possible. Okay, online advertising comes with various types of concerns. We already referred to it earlier on when we spoke about email advertising. Spam is a concern, click fraud is a concern, adware is a concern, and privacy is obviously also a key concern. Let's discuss each of them into somewhat more detail. Spam means that you get unwanted, unsolicited email. So if I'm a company, I want to advertise my products, I can try and scrape as many email addresses of people as possible I find on the internet and then massively bomb them with emails. So this spam comes with a large economic incentive because it's very low cost, like you just gather emails, right? And it has large visibility. So do note that if you send out spam mails, if you send 100,000 spam mails out and only 1% react, that's 1,000 people that react or click on a link. That's still a substantial conversion. So even if it has a tiny conversion of 1%, it can actually be meaningful and give you profit. The cost of spam is usually shifted to ISPs, internet service providers, because they have to kind of route a lot of emails, bear the cost of filtering spam. It consumes their bandwidth, it consumes storage. And from a user's perspective, it results into wasted time because we receive spam into our email folder and it kind of annoys us. And there's risk of scams. That means that a scam that people try to get money from you, like through phishing, or actually when you click on a link in the email, it can install malware or bad software on your computer, which is going to do unwanted things, collect information about you, make payments on your behalf, etc. Solution are spam filters, and modern day organizations like K11 has very good spam filters, or CAPTCHAs. CAPTCHAs are small quizzes, if you want, that allow a system or a website to distinguish humans from bots or humans from computers, right? So here you can see, type the code below. That's a textual CAPTCHA, and here you can see a visual CAPTCHA. Obviously, the more creative people become at detecting spammers, the more creative the spammers are going to become as well. Click fraud is a particular type of fraud. It's a threat to a pay-per-click model. Let's actually give you an example of click fraud. Let's again do credit risk modeling course. So on Blue Courses, on Blue Courses, you can see SEO, I rank quite high right here. But these are my competitors. DataCamp is a competitor. It's been founded by an ex-PhD student of KU Leuven, so they're actually friends of mine, but business-wise, they're a competitor. Like Coursera, they're a competitor. So what happens if I click, let's say Coursera, I click Coursera. Then Coursera needs to pay Google because they have a click and they use a cost per click pricing model. But I could do that as a way of, just depleting their marketing budget, consuming all their marketing budget. So I can ask all students in this course, that would be fraud. I can say, everybody just click the link. Then what happens is that Coursera has to pay Google for traffic that is not meaningful because it's just malicious traffic. We're just depleting, consuming their marketing budget. That's what we call click fraud. I click on my competitors' ads to consume their marketing budget. That's click fraud, right? Competitor click fraud. I click on my rival company's ads to deplete their advertising budget. Publisher click fraud means that you repeatedly click ads on your own website. So if you're like from BBC, obviously BBC will not do that. It could ask all BBC employees, click on the ads on the BBC website such that we earn money. If all BBC employees log on, click on the ads, then BBC earns money. That's publisher click fraud. Competitor click fraud and publisher click fraud are two types of click fraud where a person or an automated piece of software like a bot imitates a legitimate user of a web browser clicking on an ad just for the purpose of generating a charge per click without actual interest in the target of the ads link. Obviously, this is being detected by ad networks as much as possible, as it increases distrust between advertisers and publishers. There's actually malicious initiatives there, like click forums, which are groups of low-paid workers that just are paid for clicking ads manually, right, to evade detection, and they can engage either in competitor or publisher click fraud, depending upon the type of fraud that they're pursuing. This is click fraud. Adware is that software that comes along through spam email, for example, or by means of other types of software tools. And after downloading, you download it typically without knowing. It will display or download ads without your consent. It's going to show you excessive numbers of pop-ups or pop-unders. It's going to install toolbars in your Chrome browser full of ads. It's going to modify your browser settings behind the scenes without you being aware of it. It's going to change your default homepage to the advertisers page. It's going to forward users to marketing campaigns, and it often comes together with other types of software. Okay, privacy is a very important aspect in online advertising. It was already defined in 1890 by Warren and Brandeis. The right to privacy is in essence the right to be let alone. So that means that you have the right to be free from surveillance or interference from individuals or organizations, including the state. Online digital technologies actually have some very big challenges as it comes to privacy, because we're actually leaving behind a huge digital footprint by means of the cookies, by means of our browsing behavior, by means of profiles we make, Google profile, Instagram profile. That creates a enormous digital footprint that we leave behind. So the user should be able to control whatever information is collected about them, be aware of how this information is used, and ideally also allow this information to be erased, deleted whenever they want. So they should be able to edit, delete information, and they have a fundamental right to be forgotten. So if I work together with Instagram, at some point I'm fed up with Instagram, I should be able to invoke my right to be forgotten such that Instagram erases all information permanently that it knows about me. Obviously, there's a utility versus a privacy trade-off, because the more information I give to Instagram, the more it can actually serve me to my needs. It will show, the more it knows about my comments, my likes, my shares, the friends I'm connected with, remember the social proof concept, the more it can tailor the advertisements to what I'm really interested in. So I get something in return. We share personal data because we get some value in return. We can get we can receive ads with a monetary motivation, like a rewards program. We will get personalized recommendations based upon what we posted on Instagram or what pages we visited on Netflix, etc. But obviously, there's also other types of utilities which are sometimes very privacy intrusive, like public cameras that are very privacy intrusive, but can be used also for crime and emergency tracking. GPSs can be used for navigation, emergency localization, and social networks can obviously be used for funds, data, and connectedness. But it comes with various types of challenges, like can an employer see what you're doing on Instagram or on Facebook and see whether you actually filed for sick leave and it's fake sick leave? Because if you say you're sick and on Instagram you post pictures that you're sunbathing somewhere on some exotic island in Italy or wherever in the Bahamas, then and if the employer can see that you're on sick leave and actually traveling around the world, can they use that, yes or not, to monitor the staff behavior? That's very privacy intrusive. Can insurers find out on your social media that you're leading a very unhealthy lifestyle and as such charge you bigger life insurance premiums? So how far can they go in monitoring social media behavior? That's really an important challenge. There's a lots of privacy risks in digital setting because data is being stored in terms of your digital footprint by cookies. It's stored by search engines. It's stored on social media. It's stored by internet service providers. They collect the data. They can see the traffic that passes through their routers. Malware is also a privacy risk because it's software that is designed to be stored on your computer without you necessarily approving it, but with the aim of harming or exploiting your system, your browser, sharing your information, like spyware. This is software that particularly collects user data, maybe your credit card data, any types of credentials without your permission. Phishing is a very big threat nowadays. That means that you're going to send fake messages and they kind of originate from sources that look quite legitimate to trick users into sharing their data. There's various types of privacy protecting measures that have been launched to help us safeguard our privacy in the online environment. Cookie managers and blockers, often built into browsers, right? Allow to manage, erase your cookies, delete them, block them. Antivirus software is an important one to make sure that you don't have malware installed or spyware installed, etc. Encryption is another one. We'll discuss about that in a moment. Anonymous surfing, privacy protecting search engines, password managers, and obviously all of this is regulated like GDPR in the EU. In the EU is a very important regulation, as we will explain later. Encryption means that you want to send information, data to another party, but encrypted, encoded, right? So as to protect the data by converting it into unreadable code such that anyone that's acting in between the sender and the receiver cannot see what the data is all about. And this is often done using a public and private key mechanism. A public key is used to encrypt the data and anyone can have it, right? So we have the sender and the receiver. The receiver can actually publicly publish its public keys. It can say to the outside world, this is my public key. If you want to send data, if you want to send this piece of data, right here, you have to encrypt it using the recipient's public key and it becomes ciphertext. Ciphertext is encoded, encrypted text. This encoded text is then sent along the internet to the receiver, and he's the only one to decrypt it because with the private key comes one public key, which is not shared publicly, so the receiver will never share its private key publicly. It's only kept by the receiver or the owner, keeps it secret, and he or she can then use that private key to decipher or decode the text that has been sent right here. Anonymous surfing is another way. Anonymous surfing, that means that you surf anonymous without being known. And one particular exciting project is there, the Onion Router, which is a piece that allows you to connect to the network, to the internet anonymous. It's free and open source software. It's a distributed anonymous network such that internet service providers are not able to track your internet activity, like the websites you visited. So if you visit websites, you do it completely anonymous if you're using the Onion router. The websites you visit will see a connection not coming from you, but coming from the Tor network. So it's the Tor network, the Onion router, that connects to that website, to that web page, instead of your IP address. So it will not be able to see where you're actually coming from. It will also not maintain browsing history, and it does that by sending traffic through 3 random servers, which are also called relays in the Tor network, using lots of encryption with the last server connecting to the internet. So it's one way to do anonymous surfing. If you want more information, you can click on this link right here. And then we have privacy protecting search engines. These are search engines that never profile users. And that means that they show all users, whether you are now entering credit risk modeling course or tennis shoes in DuckDuckGo, which is one example of a privacy protecting search engine, you will get the same search results as I do. So all users get the same search results for a given search term. So the search results are unbiased, no personalized ads, does not store search history or personal information. So everybody gets the same info when they use DuckDuckGo. I actually know a couple of colleagues that use this search engine as their default search engine. Another privacy protecting measure are password managers. These are tools that allow you to securely store, generate, and manage passwords for your online accounts, helping you to create strong, unique passwords and autofilling them whenever needed. And when we say strong, unique passwords, these are typically passwords which are based upon random, long, and complex character, signs, and number combinations. These password managers facilitate centralized management, which makes it easier to also update and revoke access whenever you want. They can in fact also support you in securely synchronizing your passwords across your devices, PC, phone, tablet, etc. And they may also support multi-factor authentication, for example, combined with your smartphone for extra security. In terms of privacy, also regulation has been put forward. In the EU, we have GDPR, which stands for General Data Protection Regulation, and which was launched on May 25th in 2018. Note, it's regulation as opposed to a directive, which needs to be translated into member state regulation. But GDPR is not a directive, it's regulation. The goals of GDPR are providing rules for protecting of people, of persons, with regard to processing of their personal data. The second goal is protecting the fundamental rights and freedom of natural persons. In doing so, a distinction is made between different types of roles. We have the data subject, which is the human about whom data is collected. So if I'm surfing a particular type of website and I leave behind cookies, I accept cookies and information is stored about my visit, then I am the data subject. The data controller is the entity, and that could be a person or a company or a consortium, that determines the why and how for processing the personal data. And the actual data processing is then conducted by the data processor, who conducts or performs the data processing on the controller's behalf. GDPR clearly specifies that the data controller is the principal party responsible for ensuring and enabling exercise of a data subject's right, the right to consent, access, erasure, etc., as we will see in a moment. GDPR also clearly stipulates that data processors act on behalf of and under instruction of data controllers. According to the European Commission, personal data is defined as any information or data relating to an individual, whether it relates to his or her private, professional, or public life. So examples are name, photo, email address, bank details, posts on social media, medical information, or IP address. When does the GDPR guideline or the GDPR regulation apply? Well, the GDPR regulation applies if the data controller or processor is established in the European Union, regardless of where the data subject is located, And it also applies to organizations outside the EU if they process personal data of people in the EU. So it has a wide range of applicability. What are the rights of the data subject then? Well, the data subject has the right to be informed, has the right of having access to the data, has the right of rectification in case there are errors in the data or the data needs to be updated, has the right of erasure or removal or the right to be forgotten. That means if data is being gathered by my telco provider and if I decide to change telco provider, then I can ask for the right to be forgotten for at the telco provider that I'm leaving, right? So I can ask the telco provider I'm leaving to remove any data they have about me. I can also have the right to restriction of processing and say what data, what kind of processing can be done with what data of mine. I have the right to data portability. That means I can ask for my data and transport it to another entity, another organization, another type of data processor, for example, and I have the right to object. In case firms do not comply with GDPR, it provides 2 tiers of fines for non-compliance. For very small infringements, there's the lower tier with fines up to 10 million euros or 2% of the company's total worldwide annual turnover of the preceding financial year, whichever is higher. In case of very big infringements, in case of very big GDPR incompliance problems, then fines can range up to 20 million euros or 4% of a company's total worldwide annual turnover of the preceding financial year, whichever is bigger. In the US, privacy is regulated at state level, and the most well-known example is the CCPA, which stands for the California Consumer Privacy Act, which applies to businesses collecting personal data of residents in California, even if they're located outside California. California's, because of this CCPA Act, Californians have the right to know, delete, and opt out of sale of their personal data, such as names, addresses, IP addresses, and browsing history. It also requires clear privacy notices and compliance with the consumer data requests within set timeframes. It is enforced by the California Attorney General, and fines are also available for non-compliance with the CCPA Act. This finishes part C of this chapter on e-business, where we set the stage, introduced advertising, then reviewed various types of online advertising, discussed pricing models, and highlighted some key concerns.